have James from Benevolent AI here. My first question for you is can you give me your best elevator pitch?
Sure. So Benevolent AI is a British headquartered artificial intelligence company, and what we're focused on is radically changing the way science is discovered, so accelerating the scientific discovery process. So I guess what that means is that we're trying to transfer knowledge from all the corpus of all scientific information around the world, so the entire sum of all information, scientific information, and then translating that into what we call usable knowledge. So this is, facts that we can use to advance and accelerate scientific discovery. So in a nutshell, what we're trying to do is create new eureka moments, if you like, from all of this kind of data that's out there on science at the moment. And we started doing that with drug development and drug discovery as a beginning. So we're focusing on bioscience at the moment and looking to bring better medicines to patients and do it faster. And then later on this year, we're going to start to diversify outside just bioscience into other big scientific areas such as ecology and environment and materials science and that sort of areas.
Wonderful. My second question for you is, what big problem would you say that Benevolent solves?
So the problem is, I guess, twofold, right? Which is, the first problem is that there's so much data now. I mean, it's exponentially growing all the time, which makes it virtually impossible for humans alone to extract things from that data and then use it to advance scientific discovery. So let me give you an example, which is, for example, there's every 30 seconds, there's a new update, there's a new scientific paper published. And there's roughly, the numbers are variable, but there's roughly 10,000 updates on PubMed every day. So it's really not possible to keep up with all that knowledge. So that's one, it's exponential amount of data. So you need to use sort of a superhuman solution to solve these very, very smart humans coming up with all these scientific discoveries. Yeah. And then I guess the second part of that is that the pharmaceutical industry is suffering from that lack of innovation. They're not being able to keep up, and it's quite a difficult process for them, and it's very, developing new drugs is very risky in the sense that you can spend a long time doing it and not have success. It costs a lot of money, takes a lot of time. And I guess what's happening with the pharma industry is there's a lot of patients waiting for medicines that aren't necessarily being delivered. And so what we're trying to do is change that and basically move on the pharma industry from a sort of 20th century method to a 21st century method.
Excellent. Well, my next question for you is, how big is you guys' team?
Sure. So there's 70 guys. They're mostly based in London. We've got a few offices around the world, but mostly in London. And they're a combination of technologists and scientists. And that's quite a unique combination, we think, because we're not only using the machine. I think The Economist joked in an article they wrote about us last week that there's a really important colleague that's got a air-conditioned corner office. Well, that's our supercomputer, right? But we've also got a really important group of people. So it's a combination of scientists and technologists, and that's important because they work very closely together, which we think is unusual. And mostly, these guys are technologists and scientists, often work apart, but they're working together.
And what would you say gives Benevolent a competitive advantage?
Sure. So I think there's a number of things there. I think the management team, is a phenomenal track record. The founding management team previously set up a company called Proximogen, which is a biotech, and sold it for about $500 million in 2012, so they've got a really good track record. And also we've been adding amazing senior managers recently in the senior management team. So we hired last year Professor Jackie Hunter, who's a very well-respected British pharmacologist and been in the pharma industry for most of her career, worked at GSK for a long time. And then on the technology side, last September we announced that we just hired a guy called Jerome Pacenti, who's used to run the Watson platform at IBM Watson, so we're very pleased to have him too. So I guess that's one thing is the management team, and then I guess the other thing is just the scale of what we could be doing. We're doing it in bioscience at the moment, but we could apply it to all scientific industries.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for coming, James. Congratulations again on making the AI 100, and enjoy the rest of the summit.
Thank you.
No problem.